Hey guys, Mike here. So I want to go over a lot of data with you today about what fund managers have been doing, where they've been moving in and out of, what active managers have been telling their clients to do and doing with their accounts, as well as just making the SPY and the QQQ chart very simple and what you see is going on. Because you saw today what was up, SPY, what was flat, QQQ, but there was some other things that were up. Did you see IWM? I'm going to show you a pretty cool correlation if you hadn't caught it yet. For those who don't do crypto, when you hear Bitcoin raging, I'm going to show you something on IWM's chart that might actually give you an alternative investment to go to. And you might have noticed some other sectors that were way, way up, okay? Now, we do have a boatload of news tomorrow. I mean, it's going to be, very volatile, no doubt about it. It is loaded. All the news of the week basically is on one day. And we got, Taiwan Semiconductors in the morning reporting earnings. Now, looking at some positioning here. Some of this might actually surprise you, but this is the positioning on the S&P as far as asset managers, and you can see, they are almost near record long on the U.S. stock futures. That should be no surprise. I mean, I don't think we're surprised, are we? And you can see at the bottom, boy, when it gets down there at the bottom, that's when you want to be buying. We're up in this level now where you've obviously seen going back to 07. You get some pretty good pullbacks. But, we've talked about this before. Again, the market can just keep going and going and going until it just doesn't, right? Again, we're not really seeing any stress in the bond market. There is one thing I'm going to bring to you guys tomorrow to ask you a question on, because I'm not sure what to make of it. Now, when you look over here, I'll show you this chart right here just the other day, NAAIM, okay, where we're at and stuff. This is these active managers and what they're doing with their clients. Accounts, you can see it can go much higher. It can go up above 100. Once it gets above 100, oh boy, watch out, okay? But still, it can go. Don't mean it has to get there. Now, this is an interesting one. This is corporate insider buys, right? Where are we at? Down here in the dumps. They're not buying anything, right? Because one, most of their stocks are all-time highs. You can see right there. Usually when this is happening, what they're trying to say in this chart, you'll see a rollover, right? A topping type pattern, which by the way, that is weeks upon weeks, okay? But what I want to show you more importantly is, look at these times, right? So this was in the dumps right here, okay? We'll draw a line up here. You see what the market was happening. So same level right now. And what happened? The market did a slight pullback and went up, okay? And then you see another time. It's right over here. I believe that's 2021. If we pull over here and you can see it right there. What happened here? Well, the market went up. And so it doesn't mean it. But the one thing I will say is interesting. When did that happen? Those two times is at the beginning of 2021 and the beginning of 2023. So the beginning of the year. So I don't know if that means something or not. But you can tell when insiders buy, right? It's when the market goes down, they load the boat. And so we'll see if this pans out, if it means something. You know what I'm talking about, you see most of those, it takes weeks upon weeks upon weeks, if not months, to actually play out. We just reached that level, okay? So I'm just kind of making you aware of that, of when this is going to happen. But when you look, so fund managers set a record as far as basically withdrawing from bonds, reducing their exposure to bonds. You can see it right there. This goes back to 01, and boy, did they. And speaking of bonds, you can see right here, the 10-year yield, once again, went red today. If we can get down here, if it'll continue to sell off, maybe into this fair value gap where the 50 moving average is. Again, you can chart these like anything else. We'll put a trend line here. That will be some nice confluence. If that happens, then you will see what go up. It's going to be bonds, especially TLT. And you can see TLT right here. 1, 2, 3 green days. Not only 3 green days, 3 gap up days. Doesn't take much, okay? And this one got hammered. Right, when the 10-year went on a run, and that's probably why you saw it. They saw the 10-year was going to go on a run once the yield curve uninverted, and they just absolutely started decreasing their bond allocation. We'll see if that increases or changes. Okay. Now, and of course, they're not in bonds. Guess what they're probably going into? It's going to be stocks or something else. Now, you can see with the day why the S&P was up and the Qs were flat. Look at all this right here, all this green, right? Wasn't much red today. But there wasn't a whole lot that was going to help out the Qs. Most of it was going to help out the S&P. Most of it was going to help out Dow Jones Transportations for sure, which we'll talk about in a minute. And, to make the SPY chart very simple, because everybody says stop using the SPX, use the SPY chart. So I will use the SPY chart from now on in. That's what most of you guys use. You can see that is a clear channel in the 4-hour, right? Beautiful channel. It got to the bottom of the day, bounce, top over here, bottom. What is that? It's a high, that's a low. Now we get to see if we go up. If we break down out of this channel and we break this level right here, obviously that's a whole different story now we're talking, right? Now we're going to see more downside. That's around 578, 579 level right there is what you're looking at. All right. And so, we'll go ahead and I'm going to draw a channel actually just to put this on here so we can track it when I do this tomorrow to see if we actually bounce. And a lot of this will depend on what? Semiconductors. Okay. Taiwan semiconductors. If it reports strong and you don't pull an ASML type of earnings, then the market's going to go, it's going to drag it up, especially the Qs. It'll probably lead in that round. But, looking at this, we'll pull this over here. And so as long as we hold that line, you're good. If we break that line, obviously it's going to break it. It's going to open to more downside. Even if you went to this 565 level down there, that's not even a big drop. Okay, I think a lot of people keep wanting to call for that, and it may happen. We'll see. But so far, the bears, you just can't have more than 2 days of selling, it seems like, right? You get 1 day because of news of ASML, okay? And that's what caused the whole panic thing into the semiconductors, which got bought up hardcore today, right? Then you got the Qs. Qs just keeps coming up, consolidating, moving up, consolidating. Is this going to be another consolidation deal until we get Taiwan semiconductors and maybe some few others out of the way? That's what we're going to find out. We'll also get Netflix tomorrow too, as you'll see. But when you look, there's a daily fair value gap right there, or a 4-hour fair value gap actually. We'll put that in there. You got the gap down below. And so again, if you look at this, we're going to draw this back out right here, or drag it back out, excuse me. And so right now we're in between these ranges, right? And as we talked about, 485 right there is going to be key for the Qs to hold if we get a sell-off. And then of course, because wow, that brings in the trend line and this gap down below. But if not, it's going to cut right through that 4-hour fair value gap and start heading to all-time highs, okay? Now, IWM might notice here, up huge, right? 5% in 4 days, just keeps going, even when semiconductors were selling off. But if you look and you don't do crypto, you can pretty much see, going back beginning of the year, really nice correlation here. Right? I'll try to get them to match up. Again, it's not a perfect correlation, but if you pretty much look, I mean, that looks kind of almost identical. So, I mean, it's pretty good, right? And so since Bitcoin has been roaring, guess what IWM's been doing? It's been roaring pretty much too. Again, they ain't going to go perfect, but that's why people go, why is IWM going up? Well, one, I showed you the seasonality for IWM was really good, especially November, December. But also you can see it correlating with crypto, which has been, hopefully breaking through a certain level and it'll finally get going. And you might have noticed the Dow Jones Transportation up big today, hit that trend line, which has been resistance multiple times, used to be support, got rejected right there. But this one's been having a nice big move up really over the last few months, very volatile and stuff. But United Airlines reported today, it was up massive. I mean, just had a huge run over the last 30 days, for crying out loud. So again, airline stocks still making money hand over fist. And if you're unfamiliar with the Dow Jones Transportation right here, which kind of is a leading indicator to see if you're going into a recession, by the way, these are the stocks. Anything to do with transportation, whether it's airlines, boats, trains, all that good stuff, okay? So that's why that one was up so big today, because airlines were just rocking it. And of course, get into the semiconductors, right? The big stuff tomorrow. You got Taiwan semiconductors right here. You can see that volume gap. So obviously, if things go bad, right here going down to 175, most likely, and it'll probably go down pretty quickly. You'll have to break that trend line first. Of course, if things go really well, again, that's like a 6% drop. If things go well, or even somewhat well, then you could see another all-time high, which it just set 2 days ago. All right. And so when you look how high it can go, if things go well and the market says, yay, pump this baby up, you can see right here, 210 will be a nice level to watch once it breaks right there. And then I might just keep pulling this down around 223 and then 230 right there. Okay. So that is going to be levels that it could reach if these earnings actually go well, and especially the guidance. The guidance is the key. How much companies are spending on the products, okay? Now, NVDA, again, I told you yesterday it was bought up at 228, like it was, going out of style. And so, boom, it absolutely ran a day, had a huge day, tons. I'm talking about millions of call sweeps just coming in like they never existed before. They were going out of style or something, right? And so clearly, we can see this one right here is in an uptrend right now, going back to September, setting higher highs, higher lows. And so, this one right here, we can see all-time highs are right above, okay? And you can clearly see there's a nice little trend line I'm going to put right there. You can see 1, 2, 3 candles. And so that's going to be the resistance. If this breaks up tomorrow, you're probably going to break all-time highs tomorrow, okay? Just be expecting that, okay? Because you saw that move it had today. And then, of course, we'll see if this is going to wedge or not. If it comes down, obviously, then, it's a whole different ball game. You're looking right here. It'll probably get bought up like crazy. I mean, depending on what Taiwan Semiconductors has to say. And so you're looking around 125, 130 range, somewhere in that area. If it does come down, let me know if you would buy it if it came down that range again. Now, if you're looking to bet on something or, a stock that may go crazy tomorrow, it's going to be SMCI just because, again, if Taiwan Semiconductors goes crazy and raises all boats and semis start going, they like to move as a group, right? It has a big volume gap. This trades like a meme stock all day long. And so you can see this have a big move up tomorrow. If not, then 44 probably in the cards for it, okay? Because remember, Taiwan Semiconductors makes 80% of all chips out there. And so as Taiwan Semiconductors goes, probably everything else goes. Now, definitely a stock that I don't really get into, but I know a lot of you do and keep asking me about it, Boeing. It's like I've been waiting for it to hit this trend line right here. Finally hit this trend line, as you can see. I mean, this is a mess because it wastes my tax dollars. One thing that drives me nuts about it is they keep just giving this company contract after contract and everything. Like I said, if it wasn't one of the 2 largest plane makers in America, I mean, this thing would already went bankrupt, not a business, but can't do that. So, here it is. Do you finally get a bounce right here? When you look at the fibs going back down here, so I believe that's a 2020 low or something, then you can see it's past the 0.79 fib. It is getting a bounce. We've seen many stocks get this. So all it's going to take is some good news or contracts. I'm not really judging this as a company. I'm looking at the chart because I know as a company, they got many, many issues. If I'm not mistaken, I swear didn't they just lay off a bunch of their staff, if I'm not mistaken. When you look at even your, kind of momentum indicators here, you can see the bears are still in charge on this one. And it may just base out. The best thing it can do right here is just base out down here. Don't even get a bounce. Just base out for a while, build out some stability before even trying to move up. But don't be surprised if you get near that other trend line, the descending trend line right there, and all of a sudden you see some big contract come out or something like that, or some news about the FAA did this or something like that. But I'd rather wait till that MACD gets above the 0 line and actually get some real momentum if you're going to try to play this thing, unless you're just playing it for like a few days of a trade or a swing trade or something. Now, when it comes to earnings, again, Taiwan Semiconductors in the morning and Netflix. That's really all that's going to matter on earnings. When you look over here at the data, this is the big one. Oh boy. Core retail sales month over month, unemployment claims, Philly Fed manufacturing index, see crude oil inventories. And so definitely buckle up because it is going to be a fun win tomorrow for sure with all this stuff coming out. And so please hit that like, subscribe button if you got anything out of this. Really appreciate it. Think about signing up for the membership, unless they McDonald's combo. Check that out. And as usual, put your questions in the bottom for Saturday's video. I'll get started on those tomorrow. And I'll see you guys later.